Hey Capricorn, welcome to Tourmaline Tarot. We're going to do your November read. It is general, so if it's yours, you'll know. If it's not yours, you'll also know, okay? So, what are we doing here? I'm liking this. Okay. So, we have the Eight of Swords, okay? Then we have the Magician, then we have the Six of Pentacles reversed. It's not so much like, anything that you feel obligated to. It doesn't have to be fears, anything that you can kind of not see a way out of. It doesn't have to be like this giant dire thing, but it could just be like a little confusion, like a little, where do you step next? I kind of view this as if you're hopping, on rocks in a river, like what's the next rock you choose? Is it a slippery one? Is it going to be stable? So there is kind of decisions on the path out of it. But with the Magician, I think you're okay. There's something that you're shifting gears on that you're not going to give your time and energy to, that kept you in some kind of loop where you felt like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I do this. I'm not sure if I do that. I'm not sure if I'm thinking the right thing. Also, like I said, obligations is also a big meaning of this card for me. So stuff that you could have felt beholden to in some way is shifted out. And you find a way out with the Magician. And then you just choose to kind of like, Six of Pentacles. I think also there's an element of, if you've been trying to be fair, if you've been trying to be the cool one, the one that's like, it's okay, they're just doing, like, you're done with that. Like, it's more about you. it's all about Capricorn right now. Like, it's not saying like you're gonna, start flipping tables and causing problems, but you're also just, like I said, just time and energy, where you're putting it, how you're dealing with it. It's on your terms. So, what about this Six of Pentacles? What is that about? Actually, before I do that, give me one outcome. Give me an outcome on these guys. Oh, it's only the Ace of Wands. Yeah. So, whatever you do, you pick a way out. Because I was like, what is this guy about there? Oh, it's only Justice and the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords, I feel like, if anything that you've had to feel like you've had to prove yourself about, any kind of communication snafus, any feelings of having to one-up something or level up, to prove that you're capable of doing something or other, I just feel like that's over. Because Justice, she literally has the sword pointed down in this card, and the scales. And the Six of Pentacles is about balance. So it's like you're not giving credence to any kind of static that's coming your way. Also, I'm going to put this out there. Anything that you're doing to move out of this, to make things better for yourself, there will be some pushback. But I don't feel like you're giving to it. It's almost like secondary to whatever you're trying to do. Because what is this Magician about? The Magician is the Three of Pentacles with the Two of Wands reversed, okay? The Two of Wands, there's a waiting element for that, and there's also the manifestation things. I feel like if you have been trying to work with other people, because the Three of Pentacles does speak to kind of collaborating with people, you just see something's not gonna work. Like, you were giving it your best shot. You were, like, trying to be as fair as you can, but like I said, those scales are shifting, and you're like, guess what? The scales are tipping in Capricorn favor, and I'm not going to try and, make other people see stuff or do stuff that's probably in their best interest if they don't want to do it. So, you know what? I'm going to do me. And that's fine, This Ace of Wands, when you begin this new stuff, and I feel like it's not like you're starting from ground level, but an ace is a beginning. So if you've put any thought into any kind of action plans, because you've had maybe enough time to do it with this Eight of Swords, it's time to actually start putting things into action, because Ace of Wands is in action. Even if the Sun is reversed, I don't think that's in lack of opportunities or something not being revealed. I'm going to even go out there and say there could be stuff that you just don't want to know. You're like, I don't need to know. It does not affect me. It is, eyes on my own life. If it ain't in my shopping cart, I'm not going to be buying it. Like, it's just that kind of energy. Like, you're removing your energy from something. And it doesn't have to be like you physically going somewhere. But it's just like a nice boundary. Because what is this about? Yeah, the Lovers reversed and the Four of Pentacles reversed. I honestly feel like that's other stuff coming at you while you're, like I said, there's going to be a little pushback, you know, but you're letting go. You're not making or trying to help facilitate. That's a good word for it. Facilitate. Like if you were trying to be the example, or like, no, I'll show them what kindness is. I'll show them what compassion is, or, you know, any of that kind of stuff, like modeling for people. No, they can have it. You don't want to know. You're good. So how is this any kind of pushback? I want one of the fives. I think this initiates the countdown for other people. Because when they lose your backing, it's kind of like, uh-oh. And I mean, it is Scorpio for me too. So I think like this, the time is now. It is now. If it's not talking about the Tower aspect. But I really do think it starts the domino effect for other people. And it might be a hard domino effect, but like I said, you don't want to know. You tried. Because I actually do want to see what this Eight of Swords is about. I just want to get nosy one last time. Knight of Wands reversed. You were sticking in on something. And I say this in a relationship context, but it could be a job that, like, you just got tired of people not listening or not, you know, like, seeing, like, something that was very clear to you, but to other people, it was like you might as well have been speaking Greek or, you know, some kind of language that they just were not getting. So, but you're also like, I'm good. I don't need to hear it. Bye. And maybe you do, you know, switch a job where you were the only person that knew how to do certain things. And now it's like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. So now we're going to move on to the Oracle here. Your story was pretty cut and dry. But I'm going to read this in a relationship read. It doesn't have to be specifically about relationships, though. So at the center, you have the clouds, okay? So there's some ambiguity about how things are going to move forward. But on your side, I think there's going to be an opportunity that pops up that is going to, because you have the Lion with the star. Something that is, could be exciting as well as surprising. That's always a nice combo for Capricorn because you're like, I'm rising to the challenge. But on this side, you have the mice with the dog. And my only concern with that is you might kind of get the hint that somebody, I hate saying the term ride or die, but like somebody wasn't as loyal or as honest as they could have portrayed themselves to be. There could have been something that you had that they wanted to get close to. I'm not saying they were flat out using you, but it could be as simple as like your energy was good and they liked the way they felt when they were around you, and that's why you were around. But when it came to them getting your back, it was kind of like, well, where'd they go? You know, that kind of energy. It doesn't have to be flat out using, but like people liked something about you, and you know, they might not even know they were doing it, because you know how some people are like, wow, I really dig your energy, and you're like, yeah, stop sucking on it. Stop it. But with down here, the challenge is the motivation. You have the fire. Fire for me is about motivation, kind of being into what you're doing. And like if you're not into it, you're kind of like, I don't know, I might be stereotyping Capricorn, but if like a Capricorn's not into it, they're not into it. You could push, pull, dangle a carrot, is meh. No, it's not it. No time or energy there. But with this metal, I think you find the nugget there. And this might be that thing where it's like, you know, cool, this is out of the blue. This is something that I enjoy. This is something I want. And moving away from this. Because I feel like almost this is unintentional. Whatever this situation was. It's just the way it was. And you're like, I don't want it that way. But with the clouds, I feel like there's an ambiguity about how, like, what is the thing, the key. I love when the key comes out because it's such a duh, like, duh, unlock it. What are we unlocking here for Capricorn? What is the key? cards are pretty, yeah. It is that perseverance, because with the rose, it's beautiful, but there's thorns. So there is an element of having to balance kind of the stuff that might seem kind of sucky and the stuff that is going to be good out of it. Also with roses, you prune them back to the point where you're like, wow, I killed this thing. But in actuality, what you're doing is you're stimulating the growth. Like you have to cut things back so far where you're like, I have totally murdered this plant. But they grow back better, stronger, more beautiful. So if you're in the pruning process and trying to decide what you're pruning, that could be the cloud part where it's like, well, am I cutting the right stuff? Am I cutting the right things? But you're moving out of that. Remember, you had the magician. The magician is right there, and this Ace of Wands is ready to do this stuff. I do want to see what this is about over here. The moon. You're going to be getting recognition. There is going to be, if anything, the spiritual nudge road signs that are like Capricorn over here, and you're like, okay. I think though the recognition that you're getting validates what you're doing. Also, it could be also recognizing stuff in other people where you're like, ooh, you know, it's also realizing what you don't want as much as what you do want. There's, you know, two sides of the coin on this. And if you see something in somebody that you don't like, I always try and phrase it as, thank you for showing me I don't want to be a trash panda. And like, I take that lesson. So try and, like I said, make the good with the bad. So okay. This is a lot, but it was like, bleh, here you go. So what we have here is the fish, the bride, the eyeball, and the heart. I don't get that it's jealousy so much as it's like an envy. There's like a low-key envy. Whether it's about your job or just you in general, there's something that you embody that this situation or person wants, because there's the bride. So you have the star, which is like the spiritual fulfillment side of it. The bride is about kind of the earthly stuff. And they're watching and they're up in their feels about it. But like I said, when you pull your energy, it's going to start a domino. And I don't think you need to, and you're like, I don't even want to be here to see the final domino go down. I'm good. Because what is this medal about? You're going to be achieving, and I think that's what's going to bring it on. I'm not going to say it's like the evil eye or anything like that. It's like a low-key envy. Because either someone doesn't know how to do what you do or be how you are, and it's kind of like, how? And you're like, well, just watch. Or you could have listened back here and we could have dealt with it. But because then you have the tower on top of that. It's not tarot tower. This is like Lenormand tower, where it's more about, it's like a Hierophant energy. You have contracts, schools, institutions. So it could be something job related where you are leveling up in your position, whether that is a formal job or just in any kind of area of expertise you have. It could be like getting recognition in that way here. If you're signing stuff, I feel like I'm not getting a lot of finance stuff, but I feel like you might get an uptick in that. Because when you find this mojo business again, or the thing that kind of lights you up again. Yeah, so I feel like the recognition, because it fell out over here, I was trying to clarify that. But there's a mountain. Like I said, there's just a, you don't want to know. Good enough, we had our moments, and it's like no looking over the shoulder at all when this shift happens. Yeah, because you're ready. Like, there's the stork. Storks migrate to good stuff, better things, and it's all like right on the other side. I feel like in some ways communication might even not shut down, but it's going to be very like, if they ask a question, it's a yes, no. You know, like kind of like how with, I'm not saying anyone's a narcissist, but it's called gray rock, where you only answer what you've been asked. You don't give details. You don't elaborate. You don't talk about your feelings. It is what it is. I feel like that kind of energy coming off you, because you're like already like miles down the road. So closing it out with an oracle, what can Capricorn kind of keep in mind? Ooh. Awakening. Hi. I love that card because it is like, you know, not that you're coming out of a haze or whatever, but there's just a lot of clarity. That you're seeing things, and this has been a theme for all the readings, and I don't know if it has to do with the eclipse or whatever, but there is like a, oh, okay, there it is, and this is how it applies to me, which I like. Balance. Yeah, you do hit a rhythm that I think is going to be very beneficial for you. So, and also how to execute that, because you can be awake as the day is long, but if you don't have the balance to execute, there could be like friction there. But like I said, you're rising above. So Capricorn, that's what I have for November, and I'll talk to you later.